This is a brief overview of Freecodecamp, which I think is probably the best resource for learning how to code and practicing what you have learned. Now, the website is at www.freecodecamp.org. Before we get into the actual review, and I'm talking slowly because my dad's sleeping in the other room, and I'm pacing myself because I've had too much food. Anyway, I think the question is if it still makes sense to learn how to code in 2020. And I think the answer, from my opinion, from my very uneducated opinion, is yes. Because time and time again, I'm doing something, it is useful for me to be able to look at the code and manipulate it or change it to get what I want. What's a good analogy here? A good analogy is if I have the basic ingredients, then I have more ways to be creative and I can be more precise in what I want to build. So if what on the contrary, if I went to the grocery store and went to their ready-made section, then I'm still kind of somewhat limited. I could get a little bit of sushi from the box and some pierogies, and I don't know what kind of combination I would. Anyways, that's a really bad example. So I should not. I should probably stay away from examples like that. Anyways, so I think before I get into Freecodecamp, let me say that there's tons of options out there right now in 2021. Did I say 2020 earlier? 2021 is what I meant. There is, in random order, there's Code Academy. It's interesting. I spent a little bit of time on Code Academy, but I don't think it's truly free. You can start for free, but I think there's a lot more content available for members who are paying on a monthly basis. So, but I think it's still worthwhile checking their site and spending a little bit of time on Code Academy, spending a fair bit of time on Freecodecamp, and seeing what works for you. There's some modules on Khan Academy. I've not spent a lot of time here. And I guess suffice to say, HTML and CSS is probably the easiest type of programming that you can begin with. And I almost lost my headphones. And we're back. But yeah, there's other kind of programming on Khan Academy as well. There's some JavaScript, there's some SQL, other stuff that's in front of you. So I don't think I have. Yeah, it doesn't look like I've practiced any one of these modules on Khan Academy. It seems redundant because I've done it elsewhere. Team Treehouse is something that's been there for quite some time. I've used it way back, like going back 8 or 9 years ago, or somewhere around that time, 7 to 8 years ago. And I think they do offer, when I did use it, it is, each one of these, you got to pick and choose which one works best for you, but you can start with a free trial and then move to their paid version. But I do believe that their content is clean, crisp, well thought out, and I guess you can kind of look at, like, it also depends on what you are looking for. You're just learning, you're looking for work, what kind of developer do you want to be? You want to be front end, back end, full stack? I don't really think there's anything like full stack, but hey, I'm not a developer, so what am I talking about? There's like courses on Coursera, courses on Udemy. There's tons and tons of options. The other thing I want to talk about is, and this is going back to the question I started with, does it make sense to learn how to code in 2021? The answer for me is still a yes, but there's that whole no-code movement, and if you go to a website, this website is called nocode.tech. It's not .com, it is nocode.tech. Oh, I'm recording this video, but the URL is not showing. Anyways, so if you go to nocode.tech, you can filter by what you're really looking for. And how do you do that again? You go by, I've still haven't been able to figure out these three types: collections, use case, categories. So let's try categories, and if I'm looking to build a website, then I will click here, and oh, now the options are, what am I, sorry, it's late in the evening. So I want to build a website right now. So I will click here, and now according to nocode.tech, these are some of the options that I can run with. I think the options are kind of limited. I don't think this is a comprehensive listing, but if you're looking to build it without wanting to code, then it may be worthwhile checking a website like nocode.tech. In this case, I didn't choose a website, I chose a web app. So it really depends on what you're looking to build. Going back to website development, and I guess still on the no-code kind of tangent, you can start with something simpler. I'm kind of logged in right now. Weebly is probably the simplest way to get a website going. It is so easy. Wix, Weebly. The other one is Strikingly. Weebly doesn't, forget about their free plan offers now. Strikingly still has a free plan, but you can get a custom domain. You get a dot. So like if I was doing a website, I would do like a deal.strikingly.com, something like, I don't own that domain, by the way, or have a website there. Something weird pops up there. Don't go there, please. But yeah, so I mean, I'm saying that's what the domain would be. Another option I was looking at is, and I spent a little bit of time doing this today. It's relatively easy to get pages going on GitHub. So you can search for some code on the web, and you can then, so let's say I'm looking for a sample GitHub page code. If I'm searching for sample GitHub page code, and this was the one I cloned today. So oh, sorry, no, there's another one. Definitely getting late night. I can go straight to GitHub and go to the repository. Yeah, so I forked it from here. So if you go here, jlord.us or jlord.github.io/hello, you can go to that repo and click on fork. Contingent on that hypothesis, you need an account on GitHub. So just fork it, read the README, and do it from here because I made changes to what I forked and and I tinkered around with it. Like, it's really simple. I was trying to get this is all made up text, talks, research, embed a link to social media, upload a PDF if you'd like. So yeah, you could also get a simple website going. This is free, by the way. This is the benefit of using GitHub. You need to know a little bit of HTML, CSS, and you can also use custom URLs, which is, I think, a phenomenal feature for free websites. Okay. For something more complex, may make sense to look into Webflow. I haven't tinkered with Webflow a lot. I haven't probably spent like less than 20 minutes here. I think there's a steep learning curve. That's from my perspective. But if you're adept at using tools like Blender or Photoshop, then I think the learning curve may not be as steep for you. When it comes to the whole no-code movement, Webflow is probably one of the leaders. I'm going by word of mouth. It looks like you can make some really funky websites with Webflow. And so it may be worth your time looking at this if you may not want to invest the time and energy into learning from a coding website. Coming back to Freecodecamp, I think the best strategy is to practice, then do the projects here. Do a project on your own. You got to chunk time in your calendar on a daily basis in order for you to learn how to code, because it's not going to happen if you do it like once a month, twice a month, something like that. You have to be, anything in life, you have to do it consistently for you to get better. I would also recommend that in addition to making use of a resource like this, you go to your library and pick up a simple book on just search for HTML, CSS. Pick any book really that appeals to you. I don't have a particular recommendation. Your library may have more option. I think I scrolled through this book, that was alright. The Dummy series and the Idiot's Guides are generally okay. But really, you just pick any book, as long as it's not like 10, 12 years, because HTML standards do get updated quite regularly. And new features are added all the time. So you want to go with something like 5 years, or I think generally around that. Although you may get by with something older. But anyway, so yeah, pick a book on the side and keep it with you so you can use it as a reference, also for practicing. Okay, so with that introduction, let us begin with Freecodecamp. When you go to freecodecamp.org, you first should sign up with an email address. Okay? Then you will log in, and once you log in, you will see this page or something like this. Reminds me of a song by Coldplay. Okay, so I'm already logged in, and I have done some work here. So for the purpose of this demonstration, I will just start at the beginning. So as you will notice, on Freecodecamp, you have all of these courses. I would say the courses do take roughly about this time. So you can see I haven't even completed all of the responsive web design course. Probably been through 95% of the course, something like that. And I think it was around 300 hours, give or take. I think I went through it a little faster because I've done coding before. I've been through other coding boot camps, Marco and what's the other guy's name? Totally forget it, but Marco and Ken. So Marco and Ken used to run Firehose Online, Firehose Project, and they ended up selling to another company, two phenomenal fellows, and my start, that's interesting. Their profiles are not here. Here we go, Marco and Ken. And this is what's my official start. I've always kind of tinkered a bit with coding ever since I was a kid, but when I wanted to take it up seriously, I first learned from Marco and Ken. But yeah, this is now part of Trilogy. I have never taken a program from Trilogy, so I can't recommend it. But these guys are really good. If they're doing something in this domain, you gotta look them up because they're probably the best teachers for web development that I've come across. If that is an area you're interested, I don't know if they're teaching, by the way. Like I said, and there's so many options. So let's come back to Freecodecamp, that being said. And shout out to Marco and Ken. Thank you so much, guys. You have been so patient and so... They actually got me hooked on programming. They made programming fun. And they were very, very, very patient with the students. And I guess one tip is, now that I look back, it's just practice. Practice makes everything better. Okay, so like I was saying, there's a ton of content on Freecodecamp. The first one alone is $300. You should probably start in this kind of sequence. And that's as much as I can say about this. Start with responsive, then go to JavaScript, then go through some libraries, move to other stuff, and then you get into like the web programming related stuff, like data science, Python in particular, some comp security, some machine learning, more Python, and finally, if you want to learn, if you want to prepare for an interview, then there are all these challenges that you can and should tackle. Okay? All right, so let's begin with responsive web design. And the first in the series is basic HTML. And the very first lesson is Introduction to Basic HTML. So as I click on that, there is some text to explain what we're dealing with. We're starting with something really simple. I'm not going to go through all the details, but going with something really simple. Headings, what you should encapsulate in a paragraph, that's what P stands for. And then lists or bullet points, so to speak. This one means ordered list. And if you have never ever taken HTML, which stands for Hypertext Markup Language, is the language that powers most of the web, websites, apps, then that's what it stands for. If you are on a website, you can right click on a website on your computer and look at the code. So it looks like the code for Freecodecamp. Wow, that's some really funky code. I wonder what they use to develop their own site. A fair bit of CSS. I have no idea what these numbers are for. But basically, yeah, you can look at the code for any website, most websites, and see what's powering what you see in front of you on your browser, right? So everything in HTML starts with a tag. Most of the things, unless you're doing like a page break or something like that. And then you start the tag and then you close the tag. This is how the browser knows when to end that sequence. And the same is here with this paragraph. As you can see, it's ending here, right? So this is like really simple HTML. And this code, when you save it, you will save it as a .html file. So when you have a document on Microsoft Word, then you use the doc format. I think Google uses docx. Excel usually uses .xls. And HTML files usually have a .html format. Now you don't need to download this right now, but you can get a free tool like Sublime Text. Just Google this and something popped up on my screen. I'm sorry. This, I don't know what that was, but yeah, so you can, it's a simple thing. This is what you can use to code. You don't need it. You can use any text editor and type HTML and save it as a .html and then open it up in your browser and it should render in this way. So text that you enter in Sublime, sorry, in any file, save it as a .html and open it in the browser, it should render like this. You can just open it locally. You don't have to host it on a server just yet. And that's pretty much it for beginners. Okay, so this is not supposed to be an exhaustive demo or lesson. So let's just go to the first lesson and see what we need to do. And this is, you don't, so like this, I gave you wrong information. You don't have to download Sublime and do all that stuff. If you want to just learn, you have everything to learn right on the platform. When you're ready to make your own sites, then and you want to code something from scratch, this is when you can download Sublime and go from there. Okay, so now you just got to follow the instructions on the left hand side of your panel. And we're going to pick up the pace a little bit here. So it's saying, do you see this code? Now, in order for you to pass this module, you have to perform what the intended task is. So they're saying, this is how your opening tag looks like, right? And this is how you close it. And you have to actually do nothing in this particular example. All I have to do is click on run the test. Oh, there, my bad, I am skipping the details. Instead of hello, they are saying, oh, this is the thing you got to change. This is what I got to do now. So they're saying change this to hello world. Is there a dot? No, there's no dot. Okay, so I'm going to run the test, and the first task is completed. So I now need to go to the next task. I'm going to click here. All right. So again, there's information, and they're telling you that these are the different headings, and these elements is the right word. They come in different sequences. So H1 looks like this. H2 looks something like that, right? So if I run this, it changes, but that is not what I was supposed to do. So I'm just going to undo that and hit run test again. Actually, don't know if that changed or not. Okay, so now it's saying add an H2 tag that says cat photo app to create a second HTML element below this. Because I'm efficient, I'm just going to copy paste, and I'm going to put this require cat photo app. Alrighty. So you can see there's difference. H1 looks different from H2. And subsequently, these are going to look different as well. So I'm going to run, and I'm going to go to the next challenge. Again, there is information on what is being explained, and in this case, they are talking about the P element, short for paragraph. And we're now going to create a paragraph element. So below the HTML tags that we see, we need to add a hello paragraph. So that's what I'm going to do. Open tag, hello paragraph. I don't think the case matters, but I'm just going to do it like this right now. Alrighty, so create a P element below your H2 and give it the text hello paragraph, not in quotes. Run the test works. Okay? I don't know what download solution is. I think you just download the text. If you end up making a mistake, you can click on this button, reset, which I'll share in a second. Okay, now they're asking for a donation, and this is bad time because it shows my email, which I don't want to share publicly. Anyways, okay, so imagine I made some boo-boo. I was here, and there was something in my clipboard, right? And I came in here, and I did something like this. This was selected, and I did, oh, and I'm like, oh, right? Fat fingers, something like that. Now, if I run the test, it's going to be all wonky. So I want to reset the code. Oh. What does that mean? Does that mean I have to start from scratch? Let's take a risk. No, it's just going to reset this particular lesson. Okay, so yeah, no harm done. And so, in this case, we're talking about the made-up Latin text and actually called lorem ipsum text. And there's some more information about this. Now they're saying inside of your P element, put this text. So I'm just going to paste that. And as you can see, the text changed. And this one is complete. So move on to the next one. Again, more information. Do read the information. Right now I'm skimming through the information because, like I said, this is not an exhaustive demo of Freecodecamp. The purpose of this tutorial is to get you, the viewer, acquainted with the navigation of this tool or utility, and just get you in the habit of practicing. Just look here, that's where the instructions are, this is where your target is, this is where you do the work, this is how you check your work, and this is where the output of your code is going to emerge. In this particular example, they're talking about comments, and they're saying you should uncomment your H1 and H2, and well, pretty much everything that you see here is embedded within a comment, because comment starts like this and they end like this. Okay, just like they say over here. So I want to take out the comments. I got to take out the first line. I got to take out this bit and this line. And if I want to make it all nice and clean, I just do this. And it's always useful to have a clean environment. And I click on Run Test. And this one is good. And now, in this one, they're saying to comment out H1, but not H2. Oh, sorry, H1 and P, but not H2. So same thing. We're going to do this. And in terms of efficiency, I will do something like oh, sorry, I have to do H1 and P, but not H2. Okay, let's review if I did the right thing. H1 and P, but not H2. H1 is commented out, and P is commented out, but not H2. I'm not sure, I haven't used Sublime in a while, so I'm not sure if Sublime will do that, like do this, tell you if this is an actual comment, because you see this is green, and that's not. It's telling you there's a visual cue that this is commented out. So I think Sublime does it, but I'm really not sure. Okay, let's see, let's check it out. Let's put this code here, and here you see where it says plain text. I will choose HTML. Yeah, it does. It's not green, but you can see it's like a little grayed out, indicating it has some built-in intelligence for it to determine that. And I haven't saved this file, so you can see this not saved because this thing is not. If you see a dot here, that means your file is not saved, so you have to save it locally. Right, so I'm going to run this test. This one is complete, and I'm going to go to the next. So I think by now you are getting a sense of Freecodecamp, and this is primarily how Freecodecamp works. I believe at the end of each one of the sections there is a practice. No, sorry. As you go through, it's been, like I said, it's been actually about a year since I used Freecodecamp. But as you progress through the exercises, the level of difficulty increases. So if I come here, actually I can't think of. Wait. When you go to the projects, which I have not done, as you can see, this is where things get difficult. So you need mastery in each one of these areas for you to be able to do the projects well. So do pay attention, because you are going to be putting all of this to work in the projects. And if you're learning how to code in order to become a developer, then obviously you need to be proficient in your craft. So this is a, oh, that's interesting. I don't know, I haven't read the books from this author, but I think they have a book, something like 1984. It's not Colin, but anyways, so distracted. So this is a quick tutorial to Freecodecamp. I think it's a great utility if you want to learn how to code. Like I said, if you are new, if you want to be proficient in learning how to code, then you need to dedicate time to do this on a daily basis. And I hope the resources shared towards the beginning of this video are also useful from the perspective of making use of a code, a no-code utility. Some examples were shared towards the beginning of this video. Anyways, have a nice day, and talk to you guys later.